Hello everyone, I'm putting up a video. It's not about models. Model building's gone kind of slow lately, mainly because of Christmas, and I'd started vacation about a week ago, and I had to work so hard for so long that so many things were behind. It just took me a while to get caught up. But anyhow, here comes a video. It's not about models. The model videos will start back up soon, very soon. As soon as I'm done with this project, I'll get back to models. The reason this project has priority, it's a Christmas present for my girlfriend. So you guys can see why I'm trying to rush it. Today is December 22nd. And I got 3 more days to finish this project in. It can be done. I'm just going to have to spend a lot of time on it. And that's been hard to accomplish. But anyhow, I'll be back in a little while, probably next week, with the model videos. I'm also going to get back to the electronics. I've been planning out an update to the electronic videos because some of you sent me some really good tips. But anyhow, I'm going to ramble. I can't do that. Be back in a bit.
Hello everyone. We're going on an adventure in woodworking today. Got the hat on because it's about 50 degrees outside and I'm not doing the woodworking in the house. I've got my lumber right here. Not a whole lot of it. I'm building a Christmas present for the girlfriend. Okay. Don't want to say what it is because she watches my videos and I want to be able to put up the first part before this thing's done. We'll see if she catches that or not. But anyhow, I got 4 pieces of wood and I'm going to detail what I'm doing as I build it and put it up so you guys can come along on this journey. I know this isn't models. Thunder Paws wants to be in on things. Don't you, Thunder? I know this isn't models, but it is building and it is constructing. So I'm sure some of you will enjoy and some of you will learn a few things. Be back in a bit. Okay, first thing I want to say is follow proper safety guidelines when you're working with power tools. Okay, I know I took the safety fence off. I did because it would not allow me to cut the stock otherwise. But again, this is not my first trip around a table saw. I learned from someone who was missing fingers, and he taught me the proper respect for that blade when it's moving. I don't come within 2 inches of that blade with any part of my body at any time, simply because it is just, you can lose fingers on this thing in half a second if you're not careful. So I keep everything far away from that blade. I respect that blade. I just wanted to give you guys the proper safety warnings when playing with power tools. Respect the tools you're working with, and they'll respect you. You won't lose fingers if you're careful. Okay? And again, when I'm cutting my board, here, back in a second, I'm going to get a piece of board to show you how I work that, because I put them all, I put them all away. Okay, we're going to pretend for a moment that blade's running. What I do is I hold the piece of wood like this, and I keep my finger wrapped around this guard so that my hand doesn't come within 2 inches of that blade. Even with the safety shield on there, your finger can get under that safety shield. It's just a piece of plastic that's on a pivoting hinge. That shield's really designed to keep wood from kicking back at you. Okay? And again, I keep my hand like this, nowhere near that blade. I like my fingers. Okay? Just letting you guys know, respect the tools, be careful, and you should be fine. Thousands of people work with these things every day, and there's not that many accidents because everyone respects what they're doing. Okay, enough with the public safety announcements. Let me get back to work. Forgot to mention on the safety part, wear safety glasses. I don't need some of the stuff kicking in my eye while I'm cutting, and all of a sudden I can't see and I slip and put my fingers across the blade. This will help prevent that from happening. So, wear your safety glasses. Okay, first thing I need to do is reduce the width of my 1/4 inch panels to 4 3/4. Now, you can see what that scale is set on. That is not set on 4 3/4, unfortunately. And if I take my little ruler here and line it up, and I'm lining it up by the saw blade, you can see the edge of the saw blade's right at 4 3/4. I'm going to take a test piece of stock and cut it first and make sure that's correct. This is a cheap table saw, I will admit that. And that is why that's not accurate. Okay? And I don't know if the other side's going to be any more accurate. So I'm just measuring and verifying before I cut. It's just one of those things you should do, especially when you're working with lower quality tools, because they're just not going to be as accurate as you'd like. One other thing, I did put the Brachyri Cruiser on the back of my truck, and as you can see, it's a black truck, so it doesn't show too much. Just showing you guys it's there. It would help if I'd wash the truck, but I haven't washed the truck because of the reindeer horns on it. Be back in a bit. Test piece I just cut. We get Mr. Ruler lined up here. We're getting him lined up on the edge. And you can see that looks like it's a tad bit shy of 4 3/4. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm pretty sure I cut that edge. Let me take a look at it for a minute. Oh yeah, I cut that edge, because you can tell by the tape. I cut that edge. Now this piece wasn't square, so see, that says 4 3/4 right there. This piece was not square. I'm gonna get another test piece and check it. Okay, as you can see with the new test piece, it's spot on 4 3/4. So I'm gonna go get my stock and cut it to make sure that I'm just gonna go cut it to the right size. I'll be back in a bit. The problem you run into with cheap tools is I had to pull the safety fence off in order to cut my board. Okay, and just in case some of you are wondering what I'm using, this is poplar. Could have went with oak, but the poplar was already in the thicknesses I wanted, and I didn't want to have to get the planer out. Now let's see how we came out. It's coming out a tad bit short of the 3/4, 4 3/4, but not enough to really worry about it too much. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my other board now. And it looks like it didn't cut straight all the way across there. That's worrisome. Yeah, it didn't cut 100% straight. Oh well, that's not 100% relevant anyhow. It will be on some of the other pieces, just not this piece. Back in a bit. Pieces of stock left, the 3/4 inch stock and the 1/2 inch stock. The 1/2 inch stock is going to be for the top and bottom. The 3/4 inch stock is for the sides. Both of them are too wide, and the 3/4 inch stock is going to get some grooves cut into it, and that'll be the fun part, getting those measurements precise for those grooves, because those guys can't be off by very much. If they're off by too much, then this won't form a proper box. So let me get at this. I need the 4 3/4 inch width again for the 3/4 inch stock. The 1/2 inch stock is going to be the last thing I cut, because I'm just cutting squares out of it, and I got more than enough of it if I screw up. Back in a bit. Next, I'm cutting the grooves for the sides of the box I'm building. I'm going to use this for a scrap piece just to measure the depth of this thing. The width doesn't matter right now because I'm trying to get the depth of the blade set. It's supposed to be 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and I did this by pretty much manually eye-sighting it. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get on there. I'm going to cut a piece. I'm going to measure the depth of that groove and make adjustments. That's what scrap wood is for. I'm going to do all my measuring and get it right on a piece of scrap before I cut with my own, the parts I'm using to make my box with. Back in a bit. You measure first. This is supposed to be a 3/8 inch deep cut. And look what it comes out to. It comes out to be exactly a 1/4 inch deep. So again, this is why you measure first, cut second. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to lower the blade and make another pass. We're going to get her straight. Have no fear. All right, pass number 2. Let's see how I did. I got my ruler, got my blade, and this time I'm a little too shallow. I'm going to have to lower that blade. I'm not too shallow by much, granted, because 3/8 is just shy of a 1/4. And I'm about 1/8 short. So raise the blade up a little bit. And we'll get it. Let's see. We have success. All right. On the 3rd try. You can see that lines up perfectly 3/8 inch deep. Now I got to measure out the proper distance from the blade and get that set up right and start doing my cuts. All right, my next cut is to be a 1/4 inch from the side, like this. And I got that lined up perfectly on the first try. Now again, you notice my scale says 1/8 inch. So that tells me this thing's 1/8 inch off on the right side. I don't know what it is on the left side, but it tells me it's 1/8 inch off on the right side. Nice to know. It means I might be able to get some accurate measurements out of this thing pretty soon. But anyhow, let me get this cut. I'm supposed to make it 1/4 inch from the side and 1/4 inch wide. Now, to get this cut 1/4 inch wide is going to require 2 passes, or it won't be 1/4 inch wide. My blade is cutting 1/8 inch wide, so I'm going to have to do 2 passes and move the thing over 1/8 inch for the second pass. So here we go, first pass on my board. Oh, I have the 2 side grooves done. Now I got to widen them to 1/4 inch. So I'm going to move the fence guard over 1/8 inch. Use my test piece again to see if it's right, and then do my other cuts on this. This ought to be fun. Be back in a bit. Take my ruler, let's look, and that looks to be exactly 1/4 inch wide, so I'm ready to make my other 2 cuts on this. Back in a few minutes. Strange thing happened. This didn't happen on the test piece, but apparently the saw blade, I moved it a teeny bit too wide, and I got a little bit of waste material in between. Easy enough to remove. I'm just going to split the difference on this and then run it through again, and I'll get rid of that. Back in a sec. That cleaned up. Here's my 1/4 inch material. Let's see how she fits in there. And I need to widen that groove up a little bit, because this 1/4 inch material does fit in there. It fits really tight. Well, maybe we want it tight. I don't know. Probably need to tighten it up a teeny bit, because it fits on one end and not the other. But again, there's paper on that end, and that can make a difference. I want it tight, but not so tight. Yeah, she'll work. She's going to be really tight fitting though. I kind of want it that way though, because I'm making a box, and if that's fitting tight, a little rubber mallet action to put it together, it ain't going to come apart, especially with a little glue in there. I'm going to leave it. Alright, got my 2 grooves, got my 1/4 inch grooves. Now I need to make a 1 inch width groove and another 1/4 inch groove, and I gotta go measure out where they're at. Back in a bit. I got that secondary groove cut. You can see it if I look down on the side. It needs a little cleanup on the inside, but I'll take care of that with a chisel in a little bit. Not much cleaning up. It needs to be sanded a little, smooth it. Next, I got to go over 1/4 inch and make another 1/4 inch groove. And then I'm done grooving this board. What I have left to do is cut everyone to length. Oh, I forgot. The top and bottom need to be cut too. We'll take care of that in a little bit. Yeah, I think I just messed up. Well, anyhow, I think top and bottom are supposed to be this 3/4 inch stock. Oops, might have to go buy more, but I got enough 1/2 inch stock I can make it out of that. So let me get that cut and we'll be back. My first mistake, I was trying to widen this groove a little bit and put the board on backwards and cut a secondary groove over here. That's not a big deal, because the board that goes in this groove is going to be glued in. These boards that go in here won't be. This is glued, this is glued. Turns out my 1/4 inch stock is not a 1/4 inch, it's a 1/4 inch and 1/16. So that's why it's not actually fitting in the grooves properly. Let me check the other piece. This one might be exactly a 1/4 inch. I remember measuring one of them and going, yeah, you're perfectly a 1/4 inch. Yeah, see? Look how that one slides in there. So it's just that one set that isn't. And this groove is not quite right. I got a planer. I'm going to end up getting the planer out and planing one of these down some so it'll fit in that groove. That's all. Not that big of a deal, just a pain, because the planer is not something I really want to work with. Okay, but I'm going to have to thin one set of stock down so it fits in there right. Kind of weird how one set is thicker than the other. But, yeah, this one set's a little thicker. So I should use this one set for the front and back, eh? So it's a tight fit. But anyhow, I have 2 more cuts on this and I'm done with the table saw. Then I can move on to either the router saw or the miter saw. One of the two. I'll probably do the miter saw first and do my cross cuts. I won't do cross cuts on table saw. Miter saw works far better for that because it's designed for that. Back in a bit. For this next cut, I need the blade exactly a 1/2 inch from the rip fence. And you can't tell by looking at this because you can see she's not square on there. But if I can get the ruler square on there, you can see it is a 1/2 inch over. So let me get that cut done. And then I just have to cut out the top and bottom. And we're cross cutting.